Bellator 237 Fedor versus Rampage takes place this weekend, and let me tell you, it's a good card. It's a pretty good card. End of the year, no UFC around. Bellator had to show up pretty big, and they've done a decent job. Okay, we got big fights. Fedor versus Rampage is, of course, the big seller. It was supposed to be Michael Chandler versus Benson Henderson. They ended up going with a guy whose surname is Outlaw. I'm assuming the only reason he got this fight is because his surname is Outlaw, and it sounds pretty cool. And we move on to Michael Page versus Shinjo Anzai. I remember Shinjo Anzai, I believe, used to fight in the UFC. Michael Page, of course, professional can crusher. One of the best to ever do it at can crushing, because as much as people give shit, a lot of people say, he's a can crusher, he only fights cans. Pretty difficult to keep beating him, okay? And Michael Page keeps beating him. And I think he's going to win this one as well. It's a little bit of a jump up in competition, but I think Michael Venom Page is going to have a very nice time with Shinjo Anzai. I really do. Just everything's in Michael Venom Page's favour for that fight. And then you've got Lorenz Larkin versus Quinton Nakamura. Speak of the UFC rejects, Nakamura's on the card as well. Interesting stuff. Lorenz Larkin, very good in UFC. Has big wins, I believe, over Jorge Masvidal, if I'm remembering correctly. That's a big win that he has on his record. I think he went to a close decision with Magny. Maybe even beat him as well. Larkin's no slouch. Nakamura is. Larkin's going to win that one. Okay? And then you've got Ayaro Yoan versus Kana Watanbe. No one really gives a fuck. And then you've got Cruikshank, another UFC reject. Has some decent KOs on his record in the UFC. Had a long, nice career in the UFC as far as I can remember. Going in there against Goiti Yamaguchi. I'll probably go to young blood Goiti Yamaguchi here. 24-4 is no... I mean, that's a real good record. When you consider guys like Kevin Lee have 16-4 as their record. It's a decent record for Yamaguchi. I like it. I'll probably go with him getting a win over Darren Cruikshank. For Fedor versus Rampage, I don't know where I'm going to go with this. Let's just give me more time to think about that one. But I definitely think that Michael Venom Page is going to have a real easy time with Shinjo Anzai. The whole thing has been sold as Shinjo Anzai is actually a good opponent from the UFC, but Shinjo Anzai's best days are long behind him. Came out of the UFC. Michael Venom Page is going to absolutely dismantle him, as he does to every single can that comes his way. Lorenz Larkin, Quinton Nakamura. I mean, Lorenz should have easy work against Nakamura, to be honest with you. I believe Nakamura has been KO'd fucking a few times in a row before leaving the UFC. Maybe not. If I'm remembering incorrectly, it might be some other vague Asian person that I'm using my white racist brain to differentiate between. But I'm definitely going to go with Larkin here. Okay? I think he's going to get the job done, and then we move on to the main event of Fedor Emilianenko versus Rampage Jackson. Great fight. And here's what we're going to talk about for just a little bit. Both guys' chins aren't what they used to be. Rampage's is a little bit better than Fedor's. Okay, I'm going to figure out my prediction while just speaking about this fight, to be honest with you guys. You got Fedor. Every time he's faced top competition, he kind of loses. Out of his prime. Sorry, I need to say that. Out of his prime. Back in the day, he was fighting the best of the best, and he was winning. But recently, when he comes over to the UFC and, you know, these American promotions to the latter half of his career, he has tend to kind of tarnish his record a little bit. I know he's getting paid some big fucking mullah, but tarnishes his record a little bit. Rampage Jackson, not the biggest guy for Fedor to take on, 6'1". And let me tell you this, Rampage is a light heavyweight. Rampage as a heavyweight is just Rampage with more body fat. Like, it's not like he's building up like John Jones would be jacked at heavyweight. Like, he could be a real heavyweight contender. Rampage could not be jacked at heavyweight without a use of very nice supplements that I'm sure Fedor knows a lot about, to be honest with you guys. I am going to go with Fedor. Rampage's hairline is fucking clean, by the way. Jesus Christ. Chandler's going to make quick work of Sydney Outlaw as well, I'm very sure. Because Chandler's still got it in him. It's going to be a tough one. Sydney Outlaw's no punk, but I definitely think that Chandler... This is a good can shining card. Get your can crushers out. Let them crush some cans. Fedor Emilianenko, Rampage Jackson is the only toss-up. Is the size of Rampage going to come into effect? I don't see Rampage having a big swinger in the first round, able to catch Fedor on the chin. I think Fedor might get him. I think Fedor is going to be wild and autistic enough to land that big shot on Rampage, Because people think of Rampage having a good chin. Rampage has been KO'd before in his career, you know? I think I'm going to go with Fedor here. I know I probably shouldn't be doing that. I don't know of the motivation behind Fedor, but I do know that Rampage is not 100% motivated for this fight. I know that for sure. You can tell it by looking at the shape he's in. You can tell it by just asking him a few questions about his attitude. And then Fedor Emilianenko just coming in there. I think he's going to be autistic enough and wild enough to land a bigger shot on Rampage's chin. There's going to be a wild flurry in the first round. Fedor has more options to try and take him down as well and get the job done. Like and subscribe. Thank you for watching. Click that button there. Goodbye. Goodbye.